Here's a question I see asked on the internet right now. Should I use genetic genealogy to find my biological family? So the question is not can I find my biological mother or family using genetic genealogy? Because we've already established you definitely can. But the question is it right to do that? I guess a lot of people are asking, is it okay to do that? Hi, I'm Jenna Chiquila. I'm a genetic genealogist and I run mysterymatchdna.com. And I guess the real issue to answer the question, it's not a yes or no answer. There are a lot of factors involved and things to keep in mind. And that's what we're going to go into in this video. So there's kind of a ongoing debate of adoptee versus birth parent rights. And if you're tuning in, you're not necessarily adopted. It could be that um, did a DNA test and surprise, you're a late discovery adoptee. You didn't even know you were adopted. Or maybe you're just looking for one side of your family. You were raised by your father or your mother, and you're looking for the other side that's a complete unknown. For the sake of the video, we'll talk about adoptees a little bit, but we'll also go broader as far as the person searching who like did the DNA test and the person being found, because there's a little bit of a distinction there. So when we're talking about adoptee versus birth parent rights, um, one doesn't necessarily outride the other, but there's kind of been this understanding or belief that they do. Um, the fact that like should adoptees be able to search and find their biological families? Well, what about the birth mother's rights? Sometimes it works out fine, and the birth mother's already searching for that adoptee, that person, that individual that was given up for adoption. But not always. And sometimes it happens that the birth mother finds the adoptee, and the adoptee didn't want to be found. And please don't take offense at my terminology, whether you go by birth mother, first mother, any of those terms, biological parent. I myself am adopted. I use the word birth parent. So there used to be a debate that birth mothers were given, it was a whole debate about anonymity, right? So birth mothers specifically were saying that, well, when I signed my rights away, I was never promised anonymity. And that was a big kind of statement that was in defense of records being open and, the relinquished adoptee finding them in the future. Because they were saying basically, like, just because I signed my rights away doesn't mean that I don't want to be found in the future, right? So that was a big argument then. And it also kind of changed, just as rights have come along, talking about adoptee rights, talking about birth parent rights. They've evolved just like a lot of things do, um, so that people recognize that, it is important for a person to know where they came from. And um, I think we have to look at varying degrees too of a birth parent, a birth mother, specifically, I will say, can be totally in favor of an adopted person finding out who they are through doing, genetic genealogy or locating the family and giving some information to that adopted person. But not necessarily want an ongoing relationship, right? And similarly, adopted people or people that are searching for that other part of where they came from don't necessarily want a relationship with the people that they, came from. They may just want answers. And so I think it's important to keep that in mind too, is that the reasons people search are varied, and the reactions of people who are being found via the search are going to be varied. And DNA technology just kind of confuses a little bit more because it gives you definite answers. So if you find, a relative and genetically, do the genetic genealogy and piece it together, and there's close enough matches that you can actually pinpoint where you fit into that family tree, that's indisputable. So it causes a whole different set of issues as far as stories that were told, what the person searching thought they knew, um, maybe sometimes secrets exploding, which can be good and it can be a problem for some people, right? So I think the question isn't really, is it right or wrong to do it? Um, my personal belief, of course, is that you should have the right to know where you came from. Otherwise, I wouldn't do what I do and run Mystery Match DNA, right? And I wouldn't be, you know, an adoptee who searched 20 years for my roots, through various means and finally found the answers with genetic genealogy. However, the caveat is it is a very loaded question, and it's not a simple yes and no answer. The answer is that it's happening. Whether you like it or not, it's happening. Um, whether it should be done or shouldn't be done, it's happening. It's kind of like AI, right? The debate about should you use AI? Well, it's being used, so what are the ramifications of using it? What do we need to keep in mind? What are the safeguards? It's kind of the same with genetic genealogy, it's a technology that we can use that can give answers. But there's, I think, a right and wrong way to use it. And the wrong way, let's talk about that first, would be to um, misuse it in a way that causes harm to other people. Um, and by that, I mainly mean like how people approach the people that they're searching for. Um, it may seem obvious, but don't stalk the people you're searching for. Don't harass them. Um, don't do any harm with the information that you get from doing the genetic genealogy. And there is a right way to approach people. And so that's what I advocate, approaching them respectfully and safely, and realizing that even though you may be related by blood, you really don't know, who that person is, and they don't really know you. So just like you would approach anyone else, there needs to be some safeguards in place. And I think that in the past, there's been some harm done in the ways that people have approached other people. And I've been guilty of this as well. Um, because going by emotion or being misinformed or being given poor advice can really change the picture and affect lives. And you want to approach the person you're looking for in the way that respects your search for answers in the best way possible, while causing the least amount of harm to others. If you're interested in sitting down and seeing if we can determine together how your matches connect to each other and to you, go to mysterymatchdna.com/diagnostic.